You are live.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the February 22nd meeting of the Human Services Committee. We'll begin the meeting at 10:43 a.m. First, I'd like to welcome newly appointed Supervisor Mark Smith from the town of Johnsburg. And I'd like to also welcome all of the committee and our department people here this morning. I'd like to make do I have approval of a motion to approve the minutes from the prior committee meeting in last month? Supervisor Bruno and Supervisor Runyon on the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any privilege of the floor, any public comment from other supervisors, or I don't see anyone here from the general public? Hearing nothing, we'll move on to the action agenda items. And I'm sorry, we'll do as we always do. We'll do Countryside Adult Home first. We have nothing from either youth services or veteran services, although both departments are doing very good work. So we have a request to renew the service agreement with Jennifer Linehan, a registered dietitian. And Amy, if you'd like to comment on that, please.
Yes, so we're required by New York State Department of Health to have an RD for the facility. Jennifer is going to continue being ours for the next 18 months with a slight increase from $42 an hour to $44, with a do not exceed of $4,224 annually.
Someone like to move that to the floor, please? Supervisor Frazier and Supervisor Runyon on the second. Questions or discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor of approving that, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. If you'd like to run us through the census and overtime reports, Amy.
Sure. Our census is 27. As we've talked about in many committees, we need to keep our census down because of the renovation, but we are actually going to admit 2 new residents. So by the time I come to committee next month, we'll have 29. Overtime is up slightly. We are doing as much as we can with staff shortages still. The staff has been great as far as flexing their schedules. It is definitely, in the 32 years that I've been with the county, it's definitely a different time for hiring. So we are keeping at it though.
Any questions for Amy? I'd just like to say that I'm glad that you're working with Don Lehman and the county to use social media to kind of promote Countryside on different types of mediums, some special events and activities that the residents are involved in. Supervisor, go ahead, Brad.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Amy, I'm just wondering, it is a different time on everything, and I really do appreciate all you're doing up there, and it's, plus the with the renovations going on, I'm sure it can be a little hectic. So, but why do you think is it in general everybody's pulling out of healthcare or retirement homes? You know, nobody wants to do that. Is it not? Is it money? Is it? Do you have a feel?
It's a lot of different things. I think that I am from the era that work came first, and you kind of built yourself up. You went up the ladder. People walk in now and they want Monday through Friday. They want holidays off. They want an 8 to 4 schedule or 24-hour facility. That's not something that I can offer. Money, even though we did that great incentive pay increase, it's still a little bit on the low side. I think if we could go a little higher, it might make things easier.
Okay. Well, I thank you, and I really do thank you. And then, like I said, knowing, being a, a business owner myself, I know how hard it is and being involved in the community of, you're right, the attitude of the people is instant gratification. We all grew up working, so we know, and thank you again for everything.
Thank you. Anyone else? Amy, thanks very much.
Yep.
Be well. Talk
Have a
to you
nice
soon.
day.
We'll move on to Warren County Department of Social Services. We have both Chris and Julie here from the department. We have a number of notices of intent to fill. If I could ask the commissioner if well, actually, let me ask the committee, is there any interest in combining any of these?
Yeah, it seems like we.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Looks like
Any
1 through
objections to
6.
that? Pardon me?
Looks like 1 through 6.
1 through 6, okay. So our attorney is recommended 1 through 6, so Supervisor Bruno moves that we look at 1 through 6. Do I have a second? Supervisor Smith? All in favor of moving along?
Aye.
Okay. So Chris, if you could read us through request number 1 through 6, please.
Was the motion that you
okay.
approve items 1 through 6? You don't need a motion to combine those. So was that motion to approve items 1 through 6?
Okay.
Was that-
No,
You just took.
it was.
Starting with 7.
Okay, yeah, okay, so we've approved those. Okay, good. Yeah. Don't say I can't run this. Yes.
On your, on those items that you had, Chris, you do have, I have forms to create an assistant social services attorney part-time temp, but I don't see that on your agenda.
I actually spoke with Trish Nenninger earlier today, and she said that I should bring that up during committee. We didn't put it on the agenda because we had sent it over a couple of weeks ago for an emergency create and fill. So yes, I would like to include that if possible.
So
these are the forms.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not on there, but it's to create a new position of
Okay,
assistant
yep.
social services attorney temp part-time.
Okay.
So if you want to
okay.
go through his justification on that one.
Okay. So this is a and I'll ask Chris to further comment. This is a request to do an assistant social services attorney, temporary part-time, and I'll ask Chris to kind of comment on the necessity for that particular position.
Yeah, correct. It's a request to create and fill a position, part-time temporary for an assistant attorney. We really need this position. We have been without full attorney staff for several months now. And to be quite honest with you, our very excellent attorney, Summer Cross, is getting a little bit tired because she's handling every single case that's going through our office. Even though she's doing a great job, we really need to get some relief for her while we search for a permanent appointment to the assistant attorney position. So that's why we're asking to fill this position. We have the funding to cover that, obviously, because we have a fully open full-time attorney position. So there's no cost here.
So can we, are you interested in making a motion to make this request number 10 on the agenda? Oh, you have a question. Okay.
So is there an existing position or?
Yes, we've been searching for a assistant attorney. Okay.
And that position exists?
Yes. But we need to actually hire someone on a temp part-time basis to assist until we fill that position. We actually have found someone that is interested in doing that. That's why we're trying to get this through as quickly as possible so that this person will be available in March, will be able to come on board. It's also a person that has worked with us in the past, and they're very, very excellent and work well with our courts. Yes, they're very familiar with the courts, the judges, and our staff at DSS. You're welcome.
So is someone interested in bringing this to the floor and making this number 10?
I'll make that.
Supervisor Frazier and Supervisor Runyon on the second. Okay. So when we get to number 10, where I think we're on number 7 now, because we've approved.
But you have a motion to create and fill, so you don't. just take that.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Okay, we've got a motion to create and fill. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Okay, so we'll get back to the regular agenda, and we're on request number 7. If Chris, you could read us through that request, please.
All right, number 7 is a request to enter into a new agreement, an MOU with the Sheriff's Office for transportation expenses related to carrying out the work of the Department of Social Services. This would be an initial term, October 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022, to be renewed annually by the Commissioner of Social Services for a total annual amount of $20,000, which would be about $5,000 quarterly. The expense was not included in our 2022 or 2023 social services budget. It's something that we found out we would need to do just recently. The expenses pertain to court orders for individuals that the Department of Social Services is responsible for, people who are placed outside of Warren County, thereby requiring transportation services to Warren County courts by the Sheriff's Office.
I'd like to bring that to the floor. Do we have someone who would like to do that? Supervisor Frazier, Supervisor Runyon on the second. Discussion or questions? Supervisor Bruno.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this was not included in budgets.
Prior to this year, I got a phone call from the undersheriff about 2 months ago, stating that these costs have just gotten way out of hand and that they couldn't absorb the costs in their budget anymore. And could I please take a look at their costs? And he sent me all of the services that they had provided and how much it cost their department, and asked if there was any way that we could start absorbing these costs. And because it is for some of our individuals, we did feel that we should, and that there would be reimbursement. So that's why we did. Our cost for the last quarter of 2022 amounted to $4,937. And we anticipate that there's going to be these kinds of costs for 2023. That's why we felt we needed to enter into an MOU with them,
Right.
with the sheriff.
That's good, but as I said, where's the funding? If it wasn't in the budget, where's the funding come from?
I am asking for an increase in our budget to cover this contract. It would be coming out of our administrative budget. And I also asked for an increase to our revenue because we are reimbursed approximately 75%.
Thank you.
At an earlier meeting this morning of the probation department, we had a similar, not exactly the same situation with transport of individuals by the sheriff's department, and that both Mr. Yusi and the sheriff kind of commented on how that has kind of evolved, just as Julie pointed out. So,
Yeah, it's becoming more and more expensive to do these things. Obviously, the sheriff's department often has to pay overtime to officers who perform this service. Sometimes they have to go out in the middle of the night to get someone or transport someone for us off hours. And obviously they can't take people off patrol if they're limited officers out in the field. The other thing is that from a global perspective, fiscally, it makes more sense for the county because there is a large reimbursement through the state on this that we can access through DSS. We will be including this in our budget for 2024. So it will be incorporated going forward.
Supervisor Leggett.
If I may, Mr.
Sure.
Chairman, on resolution request form number 7 for attachment number 8, appropriations are 20,000, but the revenues add up to 15,000. I think it adds to 75% that would be coming through. You need to have the other 5,000 in this in order for the auditor or the treasurer's office to allow expenditures.
Yes.
Is that something that this committee would consider, or is that the type of matter that should be forwarded to finance?
I'll defer to,
Pardon me?
This does go to finance.
Okay, it does go to finance, so
can be taken care of then.
It would go to finance to find the funding.
Okay.
a good question. Thank you. Anyone, our attorney?
I would like to clarify that when the court places a child in the care and custody of the department, it could be for a number of reasons. The first would be under the Article 10 neglect piece, but there's also an Article 3, Article 7, which is the juvenile delinquencies and the PINs individuals. And sometimes those individuals may need physical restraints transporting from the facility where they're currently being housed to the courts. So it would, it's my understanding, Commissioner, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it would make more sense to have that individual be transported by the sheriff's department. And this resolution is just authorizing an MOU between the sheriff's department and social services to allow social services to cover some of the overtime costs and costs for the sheriffs to go pick the youth up, bringing them to court.
Yeah, it's just a reimbursement from the sheriff's department to perform the service for us.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I'll call the question. All in favor of approving request number 7, say aye.
I,
Any opposed? So moved. Number 8 probably could have been combined with number 7, but I'll ask, bring that to the floor. Supervisor Onion, Supervisor McDevitt on the second. Questions or discussion on number 8, again, related to number 7. I'll call the question. All in favor of approval of request number 8, say aye.
I,
Any opposed? No abstentions. So moved. Request number 9, please, Chris.
Request number 9 is a request to amend the 2023 county budget to increase revenue and expenses in the amount of $114,564 to reflect the remaining allocation for the New York State Rental Supplement Program known as RSP. This is issued by the New York State Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance, which provides vital rental assistance to individuals and families who are experiencing homelessness or are facing imminent loss of housing. Our goal right now is to reach as many qualifying recipients in our county as possible for full utilization of that allocation.
Thank you. Can I bring that to the floor, please? Supervisor Bruno. Anyone interested in seconding? Supervisor Frazier. Discussion or questions? Okay. I'll call the question. All in favor of approval of request number 9, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No abstentions. So moved. Chris, the commissioner submitted his monthly voluntary activities and update report that was sent to all supervisors a few days before last week's meeting. Julie, if you would like to share your finance report, please.
okay. In this month, I did the January through December 2022, as we've been steadily paying December bills. and trying to get everything all set to close out a 2022. We still have a few things to pay. The new MOU for the sheriff will be one of them, but most things are paid and we did come under budget. And revenue is really on target since it's based on our expenses. So that's about where I would expect it to be as well. Starting next month, I will be running the 2023 budget as we start expending 2023 money.
Any questions for Ms. Montero? Comments? Anyone again from the public or other supervisors that have any questions or comments? Any other business? Okay. At this time, I would like to ask for a motion to go into an executive session to discuss a personnel matter. And do I need any more clarification on that?
Yes,
Ryan?
to discuss the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Smith on the, do I have a second? Okay, Supervisor Frazier. I would again ask, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,